This is a quick video to show how to play a circle of fifths progression. You should be able to recognize patterns and transpose them easily on your keyboard. We'll start in the key of C. After the note C, you go down a fifth, up a fourth, down a fifth, up a fourth, down a fifth, up a fourth, until this circle is completed. In so doing, you basically play all the notes of the major key, keeping it diatonic or in the same key. C, F, B, E, A, D, G, C. Each note is represented. If you use a perfect circle of fifths, that is, every note being a perfect fourth or a perfect fifth away from the previous root, then you go through every single key. C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat or F sharp, B, E, A, D, G, and the circle completes on C. You can see all the white notes and all the black notes here are being utilized. Let's look at the left-hand pattern. C, down a fifth to F, up a fourth, down a fifth, fourth, fifth, fourth, fifth. Let's look at that again. Imagine your hand kind of scooting down the piano, kind of like an inchworm. First, you scoot your thumb down, then your pinky, then your thumb, then your pinky, then your thumb, then your pinky. Let's observe the left hand playing the root of each circle of fifths motion, while the right hand establishes its own pattern. So in the key of C, C is going to be doubled in the left hand. E, we're omitting the fifth G and playing the seventh B. The reason we're doing this is because these are all root position seventh chords, and in order to have good voice leading, we must go from complete to incomplete chords. For this exercise, I'm choosing to start with an incomplete seventh chord, though you could always start with a complete and then move to an incomplete. So C, C, E, B. The bass moves down. Remember, all sevenths of the chord must move down by step. The right hand is going to move down by step while one note stays the same. So notice that the orange colored keys, the left hand, are going to go through the circle of fifths pattern, while the right hand is going to either stay the same or move down by step. So C, E, and B is going to move to our next chord, which is F, A, C, E. That means the B is going to have to step down to A. Moves down to A. Now the alto voice moves down. Soprano. Now alto. Soprano. Here's our dominant seventh. And then we move to the final C chord. Let's look at the right hand pattern a little closer. So we start off with a fifth. The fifth is going to scoot down to a fourth, down to a fifth, fourth, fifth, fourth, final fifth, and then because this is the last chord, the G dominant seventh, with a diminished fifth in the outer voice, we're going to move the leading tone B up to C, and the seventh of that chord, F, down to E, resolving that diminished fifth. Let's take a look at that pattern one more time. So the bass hand is going to go through the circle of fifths, while the right hand scoots down the keyboard from fifths and fourths. So starting on our C major 7 chord, and the pattern begins. Circle of fifths in the left, step, step. Soprano, now alto, soprano, alto, and now resolve to the final C chord. This has basically been showing us the 3-voice method for doing this, but we're going to put all 4 voices together now. The bass hand is very simple. We're going to alternate between what looks like a unison to a fifth, a unison, fifth, unison, fifth, while the soprano and alto move down in the pattern we just established. So here we are, C major 7. The bass is going to move to F, and we're going to keep the C in the thumb of the left hand. So now we have an F, C, E, and we need to move our soprano down to A. F is then going to move in the bass up to B, so both left-hand voices will double the B. And we're going to have to move our alto down to D, so we have a B, D, omitting the F, and an A in the soprano. B moves down to E, a fifth below in the bass. Keep the B and the tenor voice, that's now in your thumb. So now we have an E and a B, and we need the G and the soprano. And the 7th is now in the alto. Let's keep going through this pattern. Unison in the bass and tenor, and now it's time for the alto to step down. Move down to D, keep the A in the tenor voice. Now our soprano steps down to F. This is our 2/7 chord. D moves up to G, we're going to double it in the bass. And we move our alto down to B. This is our G dominant 7th. G, B, omit the D and an F, and we resolve it to the final C chord, where we keep G in the tenor, C in the bass, and the 2 inner voices move to C and E. You could transpose this. Now that you've recognized the pattern, it's all the same. The bass voice is going to move through its circle of fifths root position, where the tenor alternates between unison and fifth, right? And then the soprano and alto are going to alternate, scooting down the keyboard, fifth, fourth, fifth, fourth, fifth, fourth. So in G major, don't forget, we've got a major 7th and 1 accidental. So we're doubling the G in the bass and tenor. We have a B in the alto and an F sharp. Observe the pattern now. The first motion is from G to C. We'll need a C7 chord. C, G, B, and we move down to E. C up to F, sharp. C up to F sharp, and we move our alto down. F sharp goes down now to B, step down in the soprano. E, alto moves to G. A, soprano moves to C. D, alto down to F sharp. This is our dominant 7th. We're going to resolve it to the final tonic G triad. So the bass moves down to G, and we resolve the diminished 5th, so we end on a G major chord. Let's try something different. Let's transpose it to a flat key, the key of E flat major. 3 flats, so E flat, G, skipping over B flat, and D in the soprano. First motion in the bass is to move your E flat down to A flat. And now we move our soprano down to C. Up to D now. Alto down to F, down to A flat, down to G. Don't forget your B flat. C to E flat in the alto. F, down to A flat in the soprano. B flat, alto down to D. And now here's our dominant 7th that we're going to resolve to the final tonic triad, like such. You can even transpose this into a minor mode. So in the minor mode, you're going to use mostly the subtonic or the flat seventh, except for on the penultimate chord, which is the dominant seventh. So in this case, D minor, we're going to use C natural, except for when we get to our dominant A major chord, which is going to require a C sharp, the leading tone. So let's observe how this moves. D motion goes down to G. Soprano down. Up to the subtonic C, alto down to E flat. Alto down to E natural. Down to F, down to A in the soprano. B flat. Now our alto steps down to D. So we have our B flat major seventh chord. B flat down to E, step down in the soprano. Pattern continues. Here is our A chord, and we're going to now need our leading tone in the alto so that we get an A dominant seventh, A, C sharp, skip over E and a G, and now resolve it to the final tonic triad, D, F, A.